reuse, because you can't recycle the planet. Hi, I'm Alex. So I run a reuse apparel brand called Stay Vocal. So we rescue t-shirts, give them a second life. So half of the apparel comes from thrift stores or donations. And then the other half, the more important one, I work with merchandise companies that are destroying t-shirts. So they're shredding, burning, or whatever, shirts that have been never worn. So a company goes out of business, band breaks up. So I get those, and then depending on what the design on the shirt is, I work it. So if it's blank, that's easy. If it's got a design that I can sort of use, I just blend mine into it, or I can put a patch over it. The water drop represents, for every t-shirt, it takes 400 gallons of water just to grow the cotton for one shirt. So all of these have a custom number, so it shows how many gallons of water you've helped save by reusing a shirt as opposed to buying a new one.
I love it.
The customer favorite is just flipping the shirt inside out, because people wear it around, the tags on the back, and they're like, hey, your shirt's in, no, it's not inside out, I don't get it. And then it's a great conversation starter. So I got really into the reuse movement. The whole business is about reusing. All of our orders are printed on the back of scrap paper. Orders are shipped out in cereal boxes. I just do it every step of the way. And as I started traveling across the country doing different events, and I used to tour with bands selling merch, and I would sell my stuff next to it, I realized that I just needed to get out there more often. It's great just telling people about what I do and sharing ideas like this night. So I just, over the course of the years, have just become really passionate about reuse. And while I love my brand, I just feel like spreading the word and sharing stories is so much more important. I'm just so passionate about it because, while recycling is great, you can't recycle a planet. And we have all this stuff already here. And as Steve well knows, why not use it? We don't have to make new stuff. There's so many options. I can just walk around this place. There's so many possibilities. My journey began that day in Vermont, and I set out around the U.S. to see how reusing benefits people, planet, and wallet. I knew there would be a lot of great reuse solutions for our waste problem, and I was ready for almost anything, so that each one of us can start making our own unique, positive impacts, for now and for our future.
So the EPA has a waste management hierarchy, obviously, and it's reduce, reuse, recycle.
Right.
And most people just go right to the recycle, and we like to promote waste reduction through reuse.
Right.
So that's really what we like to promote and remind people it's a second R. And when we talk about reuse, we really use the broadest spectrum possible. We're talking about reusable, repair. We're talking about the sharing economy. When you're reusing, you're also reducing waste.
Right.
So we're almost two in and of itself.
Right.
So if you're using a reusable tote bag, you're eliminating the need for disposables. Right. Recycling should definitely be the last resort.
Yeah.
So the reuse becomes just an imperative for us. And if you want to get philosophical about it, you can start talking about future generations and what we leave them, and about sharing our materials across the planet. We do a crappy job of that.
Yeah.
Right? Americans use way more than their share and leaves very little for the rest of the world. One of the important things about the reuse message is that recycling is not going to do it for us, that it's not enough.
Plain and simple, the more new things we make, the more natural resources we take. And natural resources are something that we all have to consider. I mean, we can't live without them, especially water. That's why I was so excited to visit Richard in New Mexico, a master of reusing water. He's got giant rain collectors and a gray water system, reusing the water from his household appliances, But he takes his relationship with nature to an entirely different level.
Well, yeah, that's, the whole idea of this is to make deals with nature, right? I have something that is a pollutant and a waste, and nature goes, no, we can use that, right? We're the only ones that haven't stopped listening to nature, and so we got to go back and go, okay, let's make a deal.
Right.
I have waste, you have want, let's, sort it out so we're all better for it. This is the first orchard that I know of that was permitted to use poop juice. So ready? Have a sniff.
Yep, that's poop.
Here we go on the road, that's all we have to know, 'cause we be steadily stomping at every show. Put your hands up, pull your mic out and tear off the roof till Conrad's turned the lights out.
It's not just household bathrooms seeing the positive effect of water reuse, though. When we stopped for a break at a rest stop in Vermont, we found out that 90% of their water is reused.
That's correct. I mean, what we're doing is less water being used out of the aquifer.
Yeah.
We have one well that produces fresh water here. 6,000 to 9,000 gallons every day. That's 6,000 or 9,000 gallons that doesn't have to come out of wells.
Right.
So we're just cleaning the water, treating the water, and it's going right back to the toilets again to be reused again.
This relationship with our planet also carries over into major business practices.
Let's turn that whole thing into where we take the glass back instead of recycling, so downcycling.
Right.
We use that container again. I think it's you as a producer, you have a responsibility of coming up with efficient ways to get your product out, and some of that, let's call it waste or raw materials, back to your place.
Right. It's amazing how many companies just create all this waste and then they wash their hands of it.
Out of sight, out of mind. So we have to come up with modern day solutions how we can at least turn it into something positive for us.
Right. So people in 50 years will have a planet to drink beer on.
We see opportunity where other people see problems.
Right.
And that's what we're all about.
In Detroit right now there's varying estimates, but anywhere from 38,000 to 70,000 blighted, abandoned structures in the city.
Wow.
And so, if you just do the math and multiply it out, it's an astonishing amount of old growth wood. It's incredible. They're beautiful woods. There's walnut, there's oak. We ran across something that, they haven't sold on the market in who knows how many years, which is chestnut wood. You can actually smell it when you sand it, and we get these big things. So it's a wonderful thing to be able to reclaim that and put it back into the community. And we've got woodworkers and the whole art and design crowd fitting out restaurants, coffee shops, hubs in Detroit. There's a lot of incubator hubs where people work. So they pay a demo company $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, and we cost $18,000, let's say, for a typical structure. That extra $6,000, it's hard. If you're really a hardcore businessman, of course you can't understand. You just say take it down as cheap as you can.
Right.
But if you look at the overall community impact, it's night and day what we're doing.
Yeah.
One thing, you're cracking all the splinters and taking this down, and there's dust going everywhere. With ours, it's a very orderly process. We're taking it down and we're recycling it back into the community.
Yeah.
Keeping it out of the landfill.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands, millions of tons of these materials, and bring it back into the community.
Sounds like the city is realizing that, you can always get more money, you can't get another planet.
They're coming, exactly. They're coming around.
Sometimes people don't get a choice of demo versus deconstruction. Our stop in Hattiesburg, Mississippi was just a few months after a massive tornado hit. Many structures were destroyed, and most people just sent the remnants to the landfill. But not Jody Mayberry.
it was an amazing thing to happen in 20 seconds. I mean, it was just a loud noise, you know, and then my front glass blew out on my screen door, or my front door, and then it was like just junk in my living room all of a sudden. And I just walked into the living room to see the front door blow open and windows breaking and stuff. So this was very direct. I mean, it made a straight line down the main street of this town. So, and it did a lot of damage. I mean, as you saw driving down the street, I got lucky. Some of them just got bulldozed down. But it was a strange turn of events. And, but I love the fact that everybody is now interested in the garden. At first, you know, they were just like, I'm not sure about this. And now I see them slow down and look and watch the growth and stuff. So it's a wonderful thing for the community, and it's a rarity in the South as well. You know, going green in a red state.
Right.
I actually have no trees on my property, and so these all came from neighbors' trees and other things that were down.
Oh, okay. So instead of just chipping them up, they got
certainly
cut up
repurposed.
A lot of people know about the environmental impact. Obviously, we're saving valuable resources from going to the landfill. And there's a tremendous social impact. You're providing affordable goods to people in need, or creative resources to those who need them. But it really has a tremendous economic impact, and that's something we really like to talk about a lot.
When you talk about the economic impact, the first question we all probably ask is, can reusing save me money? For me, I get a discount almost every time that I use a reusable bag or cup. As we traveled around the country, we saw money savings in all facets of life. And one of the most common was simply the savings when you buy used instead of new. Whether it's clothes at a thrift store, toys for your kids, or supplies for your business, used versions are almost always massively discounted. So the question comes up, why buy new?
So like this has been here for about 3 weeks and it doesn't really matter. You know what, it's all gonna break. That's the thing. Even the stuff, that mailbox over there is like kind of getting tattered, and so if it's gonna get tattered, why not just make it ourselves and then be able to recycle it once it breaks instead of feeling bad that we just bought this toy.
Sometimes the money is just not there. As we learned in Texas, this is a problem that many teachers face. But fortunately, San Antonio's Mary Cantu created Spare Parts, an organization that holds an annual free fair. Teachers have access to free donated materials and supplies that would have otherwise been recycled or thrown away.
They're the ones who don't have the budgets for materials. They're the ones who have to spend their own money on things.
The kids are able to do more because we have more without having to raise the budget, in other words. But I think I see their excitement about what they're doing has risen, and their creativity has risen, and their confidence has risen, I think, is what I've seen.
And the savings are for everyone, customers, business owners, artists alike. When it comes to art, free reused materials are everywhere. When we stopped in Wyoming, we met Felicia, whose art from trash was not only saving her a lot of money, but helping expose our waste problem in the United States.
I want people to kind of see that and experience it to some extent. To be like, wow, there's so much trash. But then, after looking at it a little bit, kind of get the idea that there's still beauty there. There's something more behind it all.
The easier you can make it for people to reuse, the more likely they are to do it. So if you've got old plumbing in your house and an old faucet, and you're able to find the one little part you need to repair your faucet, then you don't have to rip out your bathroom and start fresh.
Oh my gosh, community forklift is awesome. I just got a wonderful, beautiful, reclaimed, recycled wood floor that I just replaced in my home. And while I was out there, I also got, I had this old townhouse, and there was a little faucet thing that was broken, and I found
3 of them.
The exact same, for $5.
You may be looking for just a part for your house, but other times, it's the whole house.
a friend of mine knew that I was thinking about maybe getting a house, and he saw a little advertisement in the classified ads one Sunday morning that said 5 cute East Hill houses for sale. This neighborhood's called East Hill.
Okay.
And it said 5 cute East Hill houses for sale, $5,000 each, must move.
Wow.
So I called right away, and
$5,000.
Yeah.
Each.
Yeah. Now that's a house with no land and no foundation under it, and it sounds like a good deal. And it's a pretty good deal, but you've got to do a lot to get that to work. So.
But at least you have a space over your head for.
Well, yeah. So I went for it, and I actually got the house for $2,000.
Wow.
So yeah, and picked out a great little 1921 bungalow, and was able to find a lot only about 4.5 blocks from where the house was, and hired house movers. They do a lot of this down here, where the houses they're easy to move. They're old wooden houses. They're off grade, and they slide steel beams under them and jack them up, and it's a lot of work. But they've been doing it around here for years, and they regularly move houses like that. So I saved this wonderful old house, and then went to work restoring it, and have been living in it ever since. Unfortunately, with the construction industry, most construction, it's new, not renovation. And but although that's actually been a good thing from the recession, is that it stopped a lot of the new construction, and it's forcing us to look back again at what we already have and make that work in smart ways. So you renovate a building that's already built, and it's almost always environmentally better than building a new one.
When you look at construction from development, most of the time you can generally save 50-50 labor to materials. So in the spaces where you already have the materials, you're saving a great deal of money, obviously. Yeah. So it's one, you save the money, but then you can never to build a room with copper walls. That's not you can't do that anymore.
Saving money is something that almost all of us think about, and how we affect the planet might not even be considered. But as we learned in Idaho, reuse takes you there.
All of a sudden, all of the pieces just made sense. Why don't you start a taxi cab company that runs on French fry oil, sourced from local restaurants, reduces emissions, gives free fuel to our drivers? It just made sense. Honestly, I think it's my mechanical engineering background at work. Efficiencies, sitting there and looking at things and being like, all right, how can I make this more financially feasible? Trying to figure out the most cost-effective route really led us into reusing, recycling, which once you get the momentum rolling, it's a lot easier. I mean, one thing leads to another, and the next thing you know, you're using clotheslines instead of your dryer.
When you're saving money, you'll be able to pass those savings on. As we traveled around the U.S., we saw so many ways that our wallets can benefit with reuse. But the most impactful was definitely Fodak in Georgia. For only a $25 fee, people have access to medical equipment that would otherwise cost thousands to buy new.
I think we really have to, especially in this country, work on a paradigm shift.
Right.
Where people all of a sudden don't think about it as used stuff.
Right.
It's like taking care of the environment. It's doing things that are socially and environmentally and economically feasible.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, the big fat tires for somebody to push on the beach. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So children will outgrow their equipment before their insurance company will allow them to get a new piece.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of requests that way. People that, well, you just got a wheelchair 2 years ago, but Johnny grew 3 feet in those 2 years and he doesn't fit this wheelchair anymore. So
this is pretty amazing that you have the toys for these.
Yeah.
And these are all pre-owned toys too?
For the most part, everything, pretty much everything in here is donated. We usually send out close to 10,000 items a year. I think that was what our last number was.
And it's just crazy the amount of money people are saving by
incredible.
Getting the used stuff,
You can actually break down a hospital bed and put it in here. It cleans, it sanitizes it. Yeah, this is, as you can see, we've got several wheelchairs in here right now.
3 wheelchairs in the dishwasher.
Well, and there's a certain accessibility that people, I mean, if you talk about economy and creating separations where people don't have access to opportunity because of money, then there's an opportunity within reuse to get your needs met without having spent the dollars. You've used your labor and your ingenuity instead. You have a different capital, if you will, that you're going to be able to apply to solving a problem. And to me, that's exciting because part of our struggle in our culture is not to have people not to have the opportunity to do what it is they need to do to take care of themselves.
I will reuse this somehow.
Yeah, no, you look at it. I think attaching some flowers to this.
The reuse opportunities not only benefit individual needs, but we learned that it benefits entire societies.
A study that the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency did a couple of years ago, so there were over 15,000 in the state of Minnesota.
15,000 stores that are reusing in some...
that deal with reuse or repair or rental.
Wow.
Yeah, so we found out it was a much bigger part of the economy than we ever thought. Some people want to say that buying old stuff, secondhand stuff, is somehow going to hurt the economy. So we decided to check in and see if the facts upheld that, and it turns out it didn't. So we estimated 46,000 jobs related to it, and about $4 billion in sales, of economic activity. So yeah, good stuff.
And because the materials are typically so inexpensive, there's the potential to pay a livable wage to the people who are making those things. And then entrepreneurial types were invited to use the building. That's a bell we have in the showroom.
Wow. All right, where to next?
Here is a monkey that somebody made out of a peach pit.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I really do feel like I'm in partnership with so many different people. I mean, these anodized aluminum pencil ferrules probably have been touched by several thousand hands. And they'll probably be touched by several thousand more. And when you trace back the history and you see the intent to make something and the pride and the story of the families that these factories fed, and the life that people enjoyed because they were able to make something and said, there it is. I feel that in my own little teeny itty bitty speck of a way that I do that too. And they say if you change one life, you change the world. So you do one life at a time.
And like we saw in Missouri, you can do one bike at a time. We stopped at the 816 in Kansas City, where the focus is on repair, one of the most important aspects of reuse.
Like the bicycles are just this catalyst for people working together collectively, because like in our shop, like we draw a demographic that can like cross different socioeconomic lines. So we wanted to like slow people down and teach them how to build their bicycle from scratch or from parts in the shop, or to repair their own bicycles so they'd be less willing to discard them for having a flat, which is super common actually. One of the things I love to see is when someone gains a sense of like empowerment, and then they'll go back and they'll say like, I know what's wrong with that bike. We need to take it up to the bike shop. And then they'll essentially drag this other person up here and like kind of like crash explain like what we're doing here. They'll throw their bike in the stand the wrong way and they're like, no, you gotta put it in the other way. And like, yeah, I know. And they want to show off what they've learned, and it's like, it's really awesome. Like all of the rewarding elements of the bike shop come from the interactions we have with people.
This amazing sense of community was something that we saw all over. And with the internet, organizations like Cuttlefish in Washington, D.C. are able to build idea-sharing communities throughout the entire world.
When you take something old apart, it inspires you, it informs you, it educates you on how things were made, how things should be made or could be made.
really like the idea that every object holds a story.
Yep.
And I like that through making new items and new products out of old materials, you, whether or not somebody's like conscious of it, you're telling a story.
Right. And you're keeping that story going.
Yeah. When I take a shirt apart, I make the necktie from the back panel.
Okay.
And then from the sleeves, I make bow ties. From the front panels, I make pocket squares. But any other small part of the shirt, which there's really not much left after that point,
right,
become these little bows or hair flowers or stuffing for something one day.
So you're taking one thing on its first life and giving
it like 10 other little lives, yeah. Why would I encourage more mass production? Why would I encourage more waste when I can,
right,
when there are already so many things in existence that aren't being used?
It's becoming, you know, more and more obvious everywhere I go, like there's no shortage of stuff that we can reuse, you know, like you just have to be a little creative.
Yeah, what to do with it.
Which you obviously are.
Like I get magazines, for some reason I get Parent Magazine, which I've never subscribed to, so I put it to good use.
Oh, okay. They accidentally send it to you?
I have no idea.
It seemed like creativity inspired everyone that we met. We couldn't believe the amazing solutions that Tracy in Louisiana found for normally discarded Super Bowl banners.
You know, love this because it's got stuff. So, you know, you get something like this, and you're
Right.
walking around the street and be
Right.
like, sup.
Right.
So, you know, it's just...
Those must be ridiculously comfortable, like baggy and mesh. I guess this is a good sign.
We can do anything. If you want it, we'll do it. I guess the reuse goes from a scale of practical reuse, and then there's the truly creative repurpose, like the time machine over there. You put these on, you shut your eyes, and you basically go back in time. It's so cool.
Wow.
A customer will walk in and they'll be thinking they want, you know, a light for over the mirror in their bathroom. And they've been to Home Depot and Lowe's and all these places and saw things. And then they come in here and they just are amazed at the prospect of something being, you know,
it doesn't have to look bland.
It can, yes, it can have character and feel good, and there can be a story behind it, and they can tell me the story, and I know it's
You mean
origin
nobody
and-
else has this?
Right. Still every day something comes into the showroom or shop, the sales counter, service counter, that we've never seen before. I mean, so there's a continuous flow.
Yeah.
And then with our focus on repurposed lighting and engaging, you know, hiring art students and engaging highly mechanically adept individuals, you know, there's this constant flow of ideas and concepts that comes from staff. So it basically comes both directions and wells up all this, you know, opportunity.
It started to seem like if we just take a step back and put a little extra thought into our decision making, almost anything is possible.
That's one thing we ask our students almost always when we see a new group is if you could have a garden anywhere, where would you have it? A lot of them, I think, because they see the truck, start thinking about things around their house. Like, oh, we have an old bathtub, or we have an old toilet, or we have an old, what do you call it, red
Wagon.
Just a wagon, thank you. Like an old wagon that has, you know, is missing a wheel or something. They realize they could use it for something.
Yeah.
So.
It's awesome what you guys are doing.
Thanks.
I can't talk about creative without thinking about Taxi, the residential and business community that we visited in Colorado. So I am going to go across this awesome bridge, otherwise known as a truck bed. Check it out.
Yeah, you know, I think that outside of being environmentally conscious, there's also like this like unique challenge to repurpose materials.
Yeah.
It's a fun challenge. We can try popping in here. So this is the outdoor cinema. We have a couple of people that we source materials from, and you know, they can show up and say, we have a bunch of this, can you use it?
Right.
Think about it for a little bit, respond, and next thing you know, there was hockey glass throughout the entire site, framing in offices or bowling alley floors or tables. So it's just stuff like that where it's you can really be creative and see like a new life for a pre-existing material that just would never have been ideally used for that purpose. The taxi pool is 2 shipping containers welded together lengthwise with this vertical shipping container housing the mechanics, the pumps, and the lower level, and upstairs is the changing room. Shipping containers, I think that they're kind of popular right now for when looking at repurposed materials because they're pretty structurally sound. They can be purchased fairly inexpensive, and they're kind of adaptive. But really it was like this little building, this building, and this building was like a metal fabricator. Okay. Other than that though, it wasn't developed.
For everyone that we met utilizing creative reuse solutions, having fun just seemed to be a big part of it. So I guess, saving the planet is fun.
We look at things that we would discard in a different way, and there's a beauty there, and that can come out, and it can be easily repurposed and redirected towards a whole nother life beyond what it had. Beth and I just put our heads together and made that. This is a collaborative type of thing that we just put together.
Part of the fun is when you get stuff like that, figuring out what to do with it.
Yeah, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
That's part of the fun.
That is simply the soundboard on an upright piano. That's part of some type of gear mechanism or something, and it is simply farm implements put together. This is nothing more than just pieces of rebar and bowling balls picked up at secondhand stores, and this is nothing more than 2 Baldwin treadle pianos.
No, sewing
treadle sewing machines.
So that sat around for a while.
Like a painting in progress type of thing, that would just scoop. An old man, bored, just finds things and throws them together and makes incredible birdhouses. Wooden spoke wagon wheel. And again, this is something that Beth and I did and put together.
And then we kind of turned it.
A spatula, a couple hooks off of beaters.
Then we decided to weld it.
It was a ruler, so in effect it was a scale. They were scales.
And then we're like, let's see, how are we going to hang it?
And this is 2 different octopus furnace forms, just juxtaposed against each other.
So we did some little drawings about how we wanted to hang it and bought the boards, and we laid the boards all out here to kind of see what it'd look like.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun.
You have to get a little creative to work with what you have. And,
exactly.
You don't just go to an IKEA and buy some stock piece and you're done. You know?
Right.
Exactly.
So, and we've got a few other things around.
It was a lot more fun than doing it from scratch because you have these unique materials. Now you have to find a way to make it work.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, it is a puzzle.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I am given this old bank vault and all these things. Now, how do I make this amazing restaurant?
That's what we did. So it's like you were here. This was the lobby teller counters, and so it's the dark marble with the gold veins. So I mean, this thing is just massive. The teller windows that were up in the main figure we used for lighting fixtures. And then if you look back here, that wall back there, those are face plates of the safety deposit boxes.
Right.
Stalls, the doors and the partitions are all from the private banking booths. So you come down, you get your safety deposit box, you take it into a booth. And these were the booths. We just reuse them now as your, instead of your safety deposit stall, it's your bathroom stall.
You are in the women's bathroom.
Okay, so we saw a bank turned into a restaurant. But what if you had a structure like a whole bunch of monstrous cement grain silos? Well, we went to Buffalo to find out.
Now, this will be really fun to do. We just want to build a climbing gym. It'll be tall. It'll be really tall. It'll be the tallest in the world. Okay, cool, that's cool. And then we started finding out that it was actually a big deal that we're doing this in the area. We're doing this for the area. If someone said, here's $2 million to build a climbing gym, it would be boring, it would be sterile, and it wouldn't have any character.
Right.
Granted, a lot of people would be happy because it would be cleaner and it would be shinier and there might be running water in it.
Yeah.
But, the people that the people that matter, the people that are really, into this kind of thing, are perfectly content knowing they're coming to a grain elevator to climb in, and then maybe it won't be 72 degrees inside in the winter, maybe it'll be 60 degrees, you know, and maybe it's going to be a little dirty on the outside, and maybe that, you're going to have to walk across gravel parking lot.
But every time that they come, every dollar that they spend is supporting the whole reuse cause.
Oh yeah.
And just, keeping things alive and
and people get it, and that's the humbling part, that people actually support it and get it. Quite honestly, this facility is multiple million cubic feet, and we're only touching a small fragmented percentage. The whole thing will probably be between 8,000 and 10,000 square feet of floor space. Our goal is really to just kind of be the tip of the iceberg, just bring something fun and easy down here and get people exploring and kind of open up people's minds to new possible things they could do, or have someone come down. Maybe someone will come down and say, oh, there's a rock climbing gym down the river, and there's you can kayak and you can do all sorts of fun stuff. It's right there, right in the middle of the city, in this old industrial wasteland. You can do all this fun outdoor stuff. And that will just beget more and more creative thinking and better ideas. So this literally tip of the iceberg. 10 years from now, who knows what will be here. That guarantee it won't fall down or be torn down.
The fun people have can certainly carry over to others. When we went to New Jersey, we heard just how reuse can touch people in need.
So basically, not only are we sharing the joy with someone else and keeping the beautiful part of an event that's over from landing in the landfill, the next day when we or some of our staff deliver this stuff to the recipients, the love and the joy and the happiness that we're spreading, it almost makes us feel like we're the rock stars.
Right.
We really just want to be helping them, and they're looking at us like we did the most amazing thing. And that really is a thrill, a very big thrill that we both get from what we do.
Because I think when you overwhelm people with a message, they get turned off by it. But if you do things like recycling and reusing, repurposing, if you do them in a cool way or in a trendy way or like a way that actually interests people, it's like, it can be a really powerful thing, I think.
And those people Ashley's talking about, it's not just about all of us. It's about the kids.
And then the bathtub, we're turning into a couch. So we're actually gonna have to move it into inside so I can plug in the electric saw to chop it up. I'm not going through that.
So we saw kids learning to repurpose in school, and we also saw kids learning in a repurposed school bus.
And then they eat things in the bus that they wouldn't normally eat. They go, oh, I don't like cucumbers, but I'll have a cucumber because it came out of the bus. And they're like, oh, cucumbers are great, And so then we talk to them about eating food that comes from the ground. So the fact that everything we do affects the planet around us, and how can these kids have a more positive effect on it? They all leave with a plant to take home and plant, so they're growing something, they're having that experience.
I was actually an environmental science major in college, and that always concerned me. It was something I was always passionate about. But it was not until after I had my children that it really intensified. Like, what am I doing now that's going to impact their future generations? And I waited around for a little while for somebody else to make a difference so that I could like join their movement. And meanwhile, I'm trying to dress these kids, in some cool clothes. How can I get rid of this? So I started sewing my own clothes using scrap materials that they had already outgrown, and it grew from there. My goal in college was to teach, and Trash into Teas has allowed me to do that on like every level. I get to talk to people about creative reuse and why it's so important, and I get to do it even with the boys on their level, and I'm passing that along to them. Like, they're growing up in a life in a house where this is something that's done every day. I have a James Bond fox, and so my hope for Trash into Teas is that I'm enabling people to have those conversations. I'm enabling people to have those conversations with their kids now. And I also design kits so that, sorry.
That's those kids you're inspiring.
Those are the kids.
You make those?
Yeah.
What are they?
Wristbands. Yeah. It's not a squirrel tail.
I know. I know.
In addition to all of the people that we met a lot of animals. Mostly animals adopted from shelters. You could even say that they are a form of reuse, since you are giving a living being a second chance. Unfortunately though, there are many stray cats and dogs that can't be adopted. But, as we learned in West Virginia, reuse can help them too. Shelters made from repurposed materials. They save resources, they save money, and they save lives.
And we found that a lot of the business owners don't get terribly angry at them anymore. Sometimes they're like, oh, we're going to kill them, we're going to kill them. We say, well, how about this for a solution? Let us provide the house, let us provide the food, let us make it so they can't create any more kitties.
Yeah.
And then is it okay? And a lot of them are okay with that.
Right.
And so it makes it better.
As we continued to travel around the country, it became obvious that reuse solutions were just everywhere. It almost became less of a challenge to find inspiration. In Kentucky, we stopped at the first coffee shop over the state line to research, and sure enough, we found something amazing. Literally 3 doors down.
It was the first talking picture theater in all of the Ohio Valley. So that's its historic significance. But by the 70s, it had, to some, outlived its usefulness. To others, it was a beautiful building that needed to be saved.
Yeah.
So we took an old rundown movie theater and we converted it into a performing arts center.
And remember that school bus that we stopped at in Utah? So we just showed up here in Salt Lake to film this bus project, which is a greenhouse, but it turns out that they're doing a whole lot more, as you can see by all of these shipping containers that are in the middle of the street here. Wow.
The idea is we need to reuse this neighborhood. The whole neighborhood's super run down, and about 30% of it is these huge wide streets. And so the Granary District is what it's called. This neighborhood came together a few years ago and decided how they'd like to see it redeveloped. They didn't want to see a bunch of Walmarts and a bunch of stores like that. They wanted to see living space. We put in mock living containers down there.
Oh wow.
A small urban garden. We have a vertical garden here. And the idea was to give small businesses a chance to come in and try out it. They rent this space for the 6 months. It's open 3 days a week. And there's a beer garden, a stage, and just bringing more of a community to such an urban space down here.
See you later.
All right, back on the road. I got Peter, my new videographer. Just stopped at a rest area. Pretty awesome looking rest area.
The beautiful Donner Pass.
Yep. I'm feeling a little hungry. Okay, so we just got to Reno, Nevada, and the guy at the used tire exchange we had set up had an emergency had to run out to tires. So we came down the street to this coffee shop. Turns out the coffee shop is in an old fire station with a salon and studio apartments. Pretty rad. So my big question is where and what happened to the fire pole? Is that still up?
The fire pole is still in the salon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
do they use it?
No, they closed off the sliding down part.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it's fun. Who knows? They might pole dance on it. I don't know.
We stopped at a lot of coffee shops along the way. It's certainly how we stayed awake for our long travels. Like when we were in 4 states in 1 day. I drink a lot of coffee in general, and of course I bring my reusable cups, but the reuse solutions involving coffee just go further than that. It seemed like coffee and reuse just go hand in hand. So here we are with the whole family behind Molly's Rude Awakening.
Hi, Molly. Maya.
Andrea. Pam.
And Maddie.
Rad.
This mushroom made out of an old wooden bowl. It's her hummingbird feeder made out of an old pop bottle. We have like this booth that turned into a birdhouse. And this lovely hat is made out of a 30 pack. This piece is from an old general store. It's a large table in front of these theater chairs that came out of a Baptist church.
Awesome.
Yeah, all of our equipment here in the kitchen is reused. Nothing in it is new.
Awesome. But the food.
But the
Food's
food,
new.
yes,
Okay.
yes, food's new.
Right. It wasn't just coffee shops involved with reuse, but roasters as well. Our trip to Washington led us to Bainbridge Island, where Grounds for Change found reused solutions for their chaff, the coffee bean cast-offs that are often incinerated.
Well, our coffee is organic, so it's all organic chaff, and it's light and fluffy and high in nitrogen, and so it makes a great addition to compost. We also have an organic farmer over in Quilcene who uses it as horse bedding. She stables other people's horses as part of a side project on her farm.
Okay.
And so she'll sprinkle down the chaff. It has a great smell, so about a kind of baking bready kind of smell. It doesn't smell like coffee really, but it smells fresh and nice.
Mm-hmm.
So she sprinkles that in the horse stables.
So instead of hay or...
Yeah, instead of hay and such, and so then the horses relieve themselves, and then she composts that, so it's like double duty.
Yeah.
So it's bedding, and then it's going to be composted
Wow,
later. So
that's great. So this is pretty awesome. We're on our way to Restore to do the restoration art auction, and I just happened to stumble across this amazing coffee shop that has a whole bunch of pallet frames for their artwork, and the tables just happen to be former pallets too. And then they have reclaimed lumber for the chairs, pretty unique tree lamp over there. So it's just amazing that I keep stumbling across these awesome places around the US. So now I'm gonna get some coffee, and I'm stoked. While we were drinking a lot of coffee and had jam-packed schedules, there were definitely times that we slept on the road. But of course, we found some amazing reuse solutions there too. So we have stayed at a lot of places in all the 48 states, but that is probably the coolest. My friends Mike and Liz run this place. It's called Mr. Smalls. It's my old stomping grounds, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Church, rectory, schoolhouse turned into a concert venue, artist spaces, apartments. They even took the old skate park and turned that into an outdoor bar. It's amazing.
This bar is the newest extension of Mr. Small's Funhouse. This is actually going to be called the Funhouse, and it's going to be a full-service restaurant. And this is something that actually was never in our grand scheme until we had to shut down our skate park a couple years ago. We tore down the park and we had all this wood, and we were like, what are we going to do with this wood?
Yeah.
And so Mike was like, okay, I'll build a deck, and he built this part of the deck, and then I went off on tour with my band and came back, and he had tripled the size of it and to build that part and the upper deck as well. And so I would say about 85% of this whole deck area is recycled skate park. You can see right over here, these are like some of the transitions that were from the ramps.
Yeah, I definitely skated that at some point.
You definitely skated that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Skated on it. Skated on it. Skated on it. I love skateboarding. It's been a passion of mine since I was a kid. But as reuse became a bigger part of my life, the two started to conflict. I committed to only getting pre-owned skateboards, which aren't always the best. Come to find out, there are reuse solutions for that problem too.
We basically take barn beams, resaw them, wormholes and all, it doesn't really matter, and use them as our veneer. So it's kind of like a no graphics needed type of thing. Right. You know what I mean?
Each one is totally unique.
And this is like literally, this skateboard's like a side of a barn.
Right.
Like you can still see some of the red in that. This is barn siding as well. This is made from like some lumber we got in Sacramento from a tree that fell. This one's made out of wine barrels. Like the red in that is literally
the red from the wine.
The red from the wine. I'll show you those stacks too.
Wanna
take this ride so I can confide in the long walk home. Past every lavishly lumbering, stylishly stumbling animatronic clone. As I'm fragilely faking a fortune to call my own. I'll be exactly where I am, exactly when I ought to be. And there I'll stand engaging opportunity.
When I finally headed back home, I guess it only made sense that a woman was opening a restyled furniture shop in the next town. So, I decided to go in on opening day to show the local support.
I'm using VOC-free, non-toxic paint to restyle and transform once discarded pieces of furniture and making them into works of art. I get to express my creativity, but at the same time save families thousands or tens of thousands of dollars by just restyling and transforming a piece that they might have already owned or something that they picked up at a thrift store. So I think one of the things that I'm most proud of in my business and with the Attic Fanatic is that we're keeping things in the family and out of the landfill.
Okay, so I have traveled around this entire country and seen some ingenious reuse solutions for so many of our common needs and problems. Endless things are being kept out of the landfill, and the amount of resources being saved by not manufacturing new or, recycling is just massive. The benefits for people, planet, and wallet are obvious. So I guess the only question to ask is, what's next?
The sky's the limit down here. It's we have nothing but space, and very informally, we've been working from the motto: if you can dream it and you can insure it, we can build it. Right. So that's where we're going, and to that end, it's going to breed some really wild ideas.
Yeah, this being the first.
Yeah, hopefully the first, and hopefully not the wildest. Hopefully there's more crazy, fun stuff coming.
But we really want to start to measure in a very quantifiable way the greenhouse gases, the pollution prevented by reusing things instead of buying them new. Mm-hmm. And to my knowledge, that really hasn't been done in a good way in the country yet. So we're getting so close. Yeah. Once you put those numbers in front of people, they realize that it's not just fun and creative and unique and great for your own pocketbook. That really is great for the planet in a scale that people, I think, just don't begin to fathom.
We can all make our own personal impact. Every single step counts.
I reuse by organizing my Legos in spinach containers. My friend and I got the idea to make paper flowers from old magazines. We made a whole bouquet of them. This is how I reuse.
We're reusing buckets as planters and a sleeping bag as the dog bed.
One way I reuse is to save old jars and containers and use them to shop in bulk at health food stores.
I take stuff I find on the side of the road, in dumpsters even, and cobble it together into weird, funky, out there art pieces.
I reuse coffee grounds to fertilize my tomato plants.
It takes about 2 gallons of water to warm up your shower. Instead of wasting that water, reuse it by filling it into a bucket and then putting it into your washing machine, using it to flush your toilet or water your plants.
But how do we put all of this together to create a sustainable, positive change for all of us? Fortunately, there are some great organizations that we met, like Green America, Reuse Alliance, and the Reuse Institute, connecting people all over the country and all over the world. So, talk about reuse connecting. Here we are in Minnesota. We're with Madeline from Reuse Minnesota. And look who's here. Our buddy from Mississippi, Jody, shows up. He's so into the project that he decided to follow us up all the way here, see what's going on with the project.
It was a long ride on the motorcycle just to come see us.
Right. So yeah, pretty awesome.
Jody.
Even after my trip around the country, I am continuously inspired by people that I meet. There are reused solutions for almost anything that we need. And while I'm alive, I want to do as much as I can to help all of us, to help future generations, to help the wallet, and of course, to help our planet. Our planet is in trouble. We just can't continue to make new stuff and use up our natural resources at the rate we have been. In recycling, it's just not the best solution. You know, our planet has to be something that we all take into consideration. I mean, have you ever tried to do anything at all without a planet? Right. You can't. How much footage I'm gonna have? Yeah. Making a movie ain't easy.
It's good to be alive in the peaceful revolution. An honor to observe the beautiful solution. I tip my hat to we the people in order to form a more perfect world. This shall come to pass. The beginning of the end of the ignorance that once could sin. The tyrant to power, his days done in the worldwide revolution. Yeah, peaceful revolution.
I'm Alex, I'm bad at talking, and I'm making a documentary.
Come watch me be awkward on film.
Yeah, seriously, actually, that would probably be interesting to people.
There's one more step. Okay. You've got the knot, you've got the bow, now it's all about adjustment.
But yeah, he's the one that had the dream, and I'm kind of like his support bra. If you know what I'm saying? I support him. I'm there for him. I'm never very
I have a whole
far.
new image of you now.
Yeah, I'm the support bra, but you know, the woman.
This is being videotaped, by the way.
That's okay.
All right, yeah, dude. Some of Kansas City's finest original music coming to you live from the left.
Yeah, we just met last Sunday.
Pretty much. Say hi, nice to meet you. Ready to go on the road for 2 weeks? Okay. All right.
Hey, buddy.
Let's spend a lot of time in the car together.
Blooper reel?
Blooper reel. I'm sorry, I was hearing the Minnesota accent, I guess.
A blooper reel?
The blooper reel.
What's
The blooper reel. Wait, what the hell's a blooper reel?
This thing we're making right now. I think he's filming. We rescue t-shirts.
You gotta tell us what you did to your wrist first.
Everyone wants to know. Okay, so you ever riding a bike that has 2 wheels and then one falls off? I kept riding. It was the front one. Is it a knuckle grind?
And the farm has buffalo.
I was literally just about to ask you. We heard there's buffalo. Is that true?
Yeah, at the other end of this, there's buffalo.
So you got herd of like probably about 20?
Some people in their classes lick the paintbrushes. No, I'm not that into it.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Some of the teachers, because there's retailers nationwide,
Wait, why do they do that?
to prove that it's all green, I guess.
Oh, okay. Like eating Play-Doh?
Yeah, like it's food grade or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not that hardcore about it.
How many times have you seen customers end up on a date as a result of meeting in the video store?
End up on a date?
I bet you that's happened.
I don't know about customers. I know that I met my wife here. She was a customer, and I know
Seriously?
almost everybody who works here has been in a relationship at one time or another with a customer.
Reuse this.
Wait.